very first episode in New Space. New Space is very echoey.
I thought maybe 5,000 square feet was a little big just for this one table.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, I had to parcel out the space appropriately, which was, I'll be honest with you, was kind of a challenge simply for the fact that it was a necessity to have my drum set up down here.
Yeah.
And I was going to get one of those dope sit-to-stand desks, but I don't know if I can get the one that I want because there's simply not enough space. So I'm going to have to get like a small desk to put on the wall over there. But it definitely came along. It looks great in here.
You should be one of those turds that like sits on a medicine ball too.
Yeah, I will never do that.
Like it's good for my back.
It's good for your posture.
It works out your core.
I'm going to say fuck off.
The
Still
only
fat
people
as
sitting
fuck.
on those are usually, I was about to say, the people sitting
They're
on those are usually heavy
fucking
people.
fattest human beings alive sitting on them. That's a harsh thing, I think, for us to start off with, but there's a lot of truth to that. I had new equipment come today, but we're clearly not using it because I simply did not have enough time to set it up. So we're kind of stuck with what we have. So this would be, if you hear a little bit of reverberation, that's because the basement is not yet totally soundproofed. It's soundproofed as much as it could be, but it's still a fairly empty space, I guess, all things considered.
Yeah.
And with that, I'll do a little bit more soundproofing, but then we also have new microphones that are sitting upstairs that I didn't have a chance to test. So
That are soundproof.
definitely, well, a little more resistant to
Could you imagine?
reverberation.
It's
echo.
like we make microphones that are soundproof.
Yeah.
AKA turn them off.
Like an oxymoron.
Yeah.
It's been a week for both of us, I think.
Yeah, dude, and I'm still going through it kind of.
Yeah. You'll be going through it a lot longer than I do. Mine was just all job related. I had like this weird, not that anyone gives a fuck, but guess what? You're going to listen to me anyway. I had a deadline on to get goal setting done for my team. And the irony to the whole thing is that I'm in a last minute blitz to get this stuff down because they didn't really give us enough time. Like I was told right before I went on vacation that like, hey, you have this amount of time to get done. It's like I've only been back for like a week. Mm-hmm. So I'm like on this like blitz to try to get everything done, meet with my team, do this whole thing. Well, the irony in that is that it was due this morning, but this morning was also the date that I announced that I'm no longer going to be the leader of my team anymore. So it was like I went through this whole thing and then and then immediately like turned around and had a call with my team. I was like, hey, thanks for the exercise. By the way, I won't be your boss anymore in 2 weeks.
And they're probably
So that was interesting. Yeah, I mean, some people knew, but some didn't. So there was some people who were shocked and surprised in the whole thing and sad and all that. But on to greener pastures. I get to do some really cool shit, so I'm stoked for it.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's good stuff, but it's just like it's all a lot at the same time. Yours is not work related at all, really, right?
Oh, no. It's back
Right.
to my Mari moment shit, but
Yeah.
it was a good
We'll call it a
We'll call it a
good notable win.
Yeah, victory.
A small victory. You've battled, but you've not yet won the war, but you certainly gained ground.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Tom Cruise. I need to speak into this mic better. I'm kind of like Tom Cruise from like Last Samurai.
Yeah, you're kind of like Tom Cruise.
You know? And it's like here comes all them Indians or samurai.
Here come all them Indians.
And I got
Did you just mistake an Indian Native American for a samurai?
No, he fights both in the movie.
Yeah, but he fights the Indians in the beginning.
Yeah. But, like you're kind of like war-torn. You're kind of numb to killing.
Yeah.
But you'll keep doing it.
That's me,
It's
dude.
just like-
Totally numb to killing
But
people.
life is like samurais, and their swords are like bullshit that happens in your life.
Right.
And I'm the Tom Cruise that's be like, you're not going to take me that easy, motherfucker.
Dude, he is such a badass in that movie.
I'm at that point where I got the flag, right? That lion flag that he broke off of a spear.
Right.
When the samurais are surrounding.
And just like fighting him
and
off
he's
on the
just like
ground.
fighting like a wild tiger. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And then the samurai are going to take me. And then I'm going to learn their ways.
I feel like in this situation, you want to abort from that immediately. If people understood the context of the conversation, they'd be like, don't do it. Terrible idea.
It's true.
By the way, can we just take a quick moment to observe all the bourbon I have over there?
You have a lot.
It's intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
I still have some at the lounge. I have 5 bottles at the lounge.
You got
So it's
some-
a lot of control. Dude, I drank so much bourbon yesterday.
I actually drank a lot yesterday.
It was an insane. Why were you drinking yesterday?
I was at the lounge.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you went there. I was in Cincinnati, so I went to I went to a place called OTR Cigars, which is a newer place by an older retired gentleman. Used to work at Z93. He was the general manager of Z93.
92.9?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? He was like, so it's, how do I explain this? So I got invited to go down there by Dave from cigarclub.com, and we hung out for a bit, met him down there. But when I got there, it's really weird. You need to go there with me. It's kind of strange, but I like it. I walk in, there's this old dude, and he was like, are you the guy from Centerville? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And he was like, how's it going? And I was like, good. He was just really cool old dude who owns this place. And he started asking me all these questions. I'm like, how the fuck does this guy know about me? And then he's like, how does he know all this stuff? Well, he's from the area. Like, he used to live in Centerville for like 20 fucking years. And then went down to Cincinnati to like run a radio station. And then now he's retired and he has a cigar lounge. But anyway, long story short, hung out with Dave from cigarclub.com and met up with Miguel too. So Miguel was hosting like a small event there, which was pretty cool. So I hung out there a lot longer than I expected I would. But the bourbon was flowing and we were smoking some good cigars. So I didn't want to rush home.
Yeah.
That's why we're podcasting now and not 24 hours earlier.
That's true.
Yeah, but it was good times, man. So what did you smoke at the lounge? What did you have?
Oh, let's see. What did I get?
Did you only smoke one or did you smoke multiples?
I think I got 2. Buenaventura was one.
Okay.
The Sun Grown, I think.
Good cigars.
Ooh, what was the other one? It was a goodie.
That was definitely a goodie.
It was a good one. I forget what it was, but it's like a go-to of mine. Oh, it was the Trinidad.
Oh, the Espiritu. Yeah, that's a good cigar. Yeah, that's a good one.
It was pleasurable.
Yeah, I would have totally went there and hung out with you, but I was already in Cincy and I wanted to check out that other place. The other place is really weird, so it's like super small. Like the guy doesn't have like a giant humidor. It's a small space in the front and it's right down in OTR, which is really cool. He's in the best location because literally you step outside his door and you go 2 steps right, you're where the Findlay Market is, which is like super popular, right? So it's like right there, but when you walk in the front door, it's not a huge selection, but what he does have is pretty good. And then you have to walk out that door into like a little, like, I don't know what it is, just like a little pathway, like an enclosed pathway. And then you walk through this other door, and then you're literally like in a storage unit.
Oh, shit.
So like the back of his shop is like what is supposed to be a small warehouse for a business that probably used to operate there. He turned that into the lounge. So like you can pop the doors. There's like 2 giant garage doors. And I bet in the summertime it's dope as shit. But it's a really small space. It is as small as this room. It actually may be a little smaller.
The lounge?
Yeah. So you're like you're crammed in there because this is not a big space. I think this is bigger than his room, his lounge. But dude, we squeezed like, I don't know, there was probably 12 of us in there and just all having a good old time.
Can I do something that'll make you feel uncomfortable?
I'd rather you not.
You know what that would be like in such a small space?
Bukkake?
You're like right up against them. You're like all crammed in there like fucking sheep in a fence. You're like, what are you smoking? That's a good one.
That doesn't really make me that uncomfortable.
Oh.
But I know what you're saying. I think in a social situation, it certainly would.
You're way too much in each
person's
personal space.
Yeah, you're invading everyone's personal space, of course. I mean, it was intimate, but not that intimate. It was very nice. It was really calming. It was relaxing.
It wasn't like one of those Japanese metro trains.
Oh, dude, where the last guy is literally like a pancake, like when the doors are shutting. Like both the doors clip his fucking shoulder blades. Yeah. Oh, man. That, my worst nightmare. Have you ever seen the video? There's like I think it was actually New York. It wasn't even Japan. where this fucking fat white dude like literally jumps. There's no room, and he jumps in the middle of the doors, and it's clearly not going to close around him. So the doors just keep going this and like keep opening, and people are like, "Come on, like just leave!" And he's just standing there like this.
I ain't getting up.
Like, you're either gonna let me in, or this shit isn't going. This train is not gonna move, because you know they won't move unless the door's all shut, and the doors just kept getting close to him and then opening.
That's so funny.
And the video's like 30 seconds long of him just doing this.
Dude,
It's pretty incredible. I actually, I really enjoy that video. It's funny because it's like, it reminds me of something that I would do just to piss people off. I'm like, I don't know whether he was attempting to just make people mad, or if he was just like, listen, I'm getting on this fucking train, whether you want me to or not. Mm-hmm. And just stood in the fucking doorway, just sat there for like fucking 2 minutes. It was great. It was great.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't like being in a chicken coop.
No, yeah, no. It's not that bad. But I mean,
plus,
I imagine if they have like any sort of meaningful events there, it's
you go into that chicken coop and you're like, why is there a goddamn bunch of rooster cocks in here?
Yeah, that's true.
Was there any women?
There was one.
Ooh,
yeah.
One hen.
Yeah, there was one hen in the rooster pen.
A lot of cocks.
Yeah. Yeah, she was ugly, so it didn't matter.
Ooh.
So yeah, I would argue that the big bearded guy with the long hair that was there was more attractive than she was.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. You know how some people just... Have you ever seen a movie where you like look at a girl and it only shows the upper half of her body and you're like, woof, and then you just immediately go, well, she clearly doesn't have legs either. Like, life didn't just stop at making her ugly, but it also like chopped her legs off, and like she was that kind of ugly where she could have easily just been missing legs, or at least one leg, or missing an arm.
Or she's got like that weird thing where your kneecaps look like Jay Leno's chin.
Yeah, that too. She has like a goiter or something on the back of her neck. She could have easily been that. So yes, there was a hen in the rooster pen, but I'm gonna go with I think all the roosters would have rather been gay than approach her. So that's mean to say. You know what? It's been a Friday though. I'm in such a weird mood right now.
I am too. I'm really weird mood.
It's very strange, and I hope that doesn't translate negatively into the podcast, but if it does, guess what? I apologize.
Yeah, we told you we should have retired.
You know what? We probably should have really retired. Yeah. There's things, it's funny because I think about that every once in a while. You know, I was thinking about the other day because there's some podcasts that are in like thousands of episodes, like Rogan, right? And then you have like a couple of the other ones I listen to, like Your Mom's House and Fighter and the Kid. They're all in like 400s, 500s. Just a ton of podcasts. And I was thinking about like, man, we're in 138, right? And I was thinking about what I said the other day on the podcast, and you know, I took the little video clip, and of course people messaged like, "That was your last podcast." I'm like, come on, you think we're gonna go out like that? You guys are crazy. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, how many do we do? You know, like,
where does it stop?
Yeah, like where does
train's rolling?
Where does it end? We're at 138.
What station we getting off of?
Is there an appropriate time just to call it quits? Like, how do you know? Like, when do you end it? You know, because the listenership just gets bigger, and it becomes more popular, and we continue to do more and kind of unique, different stuff, and we've built this website, and we've done all this thing, and
there's only one
investing in new gear and equipment. But it's like, how long do you really take it?
I think there's three things.
Okay.
I've already thought them through.
Okay.
One, cigar community's sizable, but it's relatively small.
Yeah, that's true. Listenership can only get so big.
When we reach every single person in the cigar community, that would be a good closer.
So it'd be cool. We'll be doing this till we're 94.
It's like hitting a ceiling, right? The second one is one of us gets lung cancer or mouth cancer, which I don't think will happen, but who knows?
That would be
a quick, definite stopper.
Yeah, that'd be destructive to the podcast.
But I'm not saying that cigars cause mouth cancer. I'm saying they might increase your chances, much like eating a Big Mac.
Definitely not the same thing.
Anyways, and the third one, oh shit, I had a third one.
I like you're like, I thought this through. You clearly didn't.
I did, and the other one was good too.
My reasons are vastly different than yours, I think. One, if I get bored of it, you know how I am. Like, I'll divert my attention immediately. If something just gets boring,
Yeah.
and it's like I no longer find fulfillment in it, I'll just end it.
And option 3, we've smoked every cigar on the market,
Right.
to where we would just miss weeks on end,
Right.
because there's nothing new.
So we could essentially do like thousands upon thousands of episodes.
Yeah. And then it just kind of ends.
God, wouldn't that be unfortunate if like we just got to the end and we legitimately ran out of content? We're like, there's nothing else to talk about.
Cigar 10,432 came at us from 1921, found it in an old prohibition barrel.
Found it in the hands of a young skeleton line worker. Yeah, that'd be crazy. I don't know. I feel like I want to do what no other podcast has done and be very intentional on the time we end it. Like I kind of just want to be like, hey, episode 500, that's it. There's no more beyond that. Get prepared for it. Nothing's gonna happen beyond that. We're gonna divert our attention to something else.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, of course, and I make it sound like we're gonna end this, and we're not, but we've talked about there's other podcast ideas that we have. One in particular that could just, and if I can be frank,
I'll be Larry.
You be Larry, I'll be Frank, could change the world.
Could change the
world. This podcast idea could legitimately change the world as we know it.
Yeah. Like, hypothetically speaking.
Right.
Like, we could make the world flat.
Wouldn't that be... You know what would be wild to me is like we get good listenership for this. Okay, so hypothetically, let's just say new podcast idea. We put it into place. We get a few episodes on our belt, and we just see numbers increase exponentially. Right? Just blows the fuck up.
Off of this show?
No, just in general, its own show.
Oh, okay.
It just off, like, I mean,
and
this show could help promote it, but numbers blow up. It's got a ton of attention. People are really digging it. They're telling their friends are telling their friends, and it just skyrockets.
Yeah.
What do you do with the hot ticket?
Oh, that would be an interesting thing. I mean, I would say that I think there's room in the weekly schedule for it still. You know? Like hot ticket, you know? Like that was something. That was something profound.
What if this was only meant to launch us into something else?
Yeah, but like, sure, it might be the Model T, but it helped us get to the Ferrari.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you don't throw it out.
How long are you going to drive the Model T, though? How long are you going to crank the front?
I don't know, but I wouldn't get rid of it, you know? I might put it in my garage and occasionally take it out when the weather's nice.
You know what I would do? I think here's what I would do. I think I would intentionally do this. I would likely, if second podcast starts and it just blows the fucking roof off it, like we just start something that just gains so much momentum and so much traction, and it's loved by millions, right?
Yeah.
I'd say the first time I ever saw like just a decrease in anything we do on the hot ticket, I'd be like, I'm done. And I'd pull the plug. I wouldn't even fucking announce it. There'd be no last episode. There'd be no grand finale. It would just be like, it just ends at like 139.
It's like
just it.
It's like one of those technical like difficulty screens on TV when there's bad weather. It's like, what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's probably what I would do.
I don't know if I would get out of it. It's just, obviously, it's got to make you happy. You know, you do shit that makes you happy.
Again, I make this sound, and it's just my mood right now. I make it sound worse than what it is.
You're in a dark place.
I absolutely love doing this show. It's like the one thing. Well, not the one thing. It sounds bad when I say one thing. I've said that multiple times, and like I'm afraid like Lauren's going to hear me one time where I'll go like, it's the only thing that makes me happy. And I'm 100% going to get in trouble. That's not what I mean, but like it's like one thing in the week that I really, really look forward to every single week.
Yeah.
Where like I'm always challenging, like what can we do? What can we talk about? What kind of conversation? How do we refine the process? How do we bring good content forward? How do we continue making organic? I think about all those things, and you come into it with like, even if you're in a little bit of a somber mood. I'm not even somber. I'm just really tired, honestly. It's more exhaustion. But like even feeling like this where like, hey, I'm not going to be able to put on my Sunday's best. I'm not feeling it like I usually feel it. It still typically ends up being a good show because it's just naturally who we are. Which is good. It's a good I think it's a good dynamic.
Yeah, man. And we'd have to change it up, like you get in a rhythm, right? It's like you can only do missionary so much.
Or at all. Who does missionary?
It's just a lot of missionary. But eventually God changed it. It was like, let's do some Kama Sutra shit with this show.
Yeah, that's true.
You
can amplify it.
Bend me over. Turn me into a pretzel.
You put your legs behind my head.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's divert. Came out this week, one step closer to banning online sales of cigars, which is a huge bummer, specifically because our show sponsor is My Cigar Pack. I don't know how that works with packs versus like being able to actually buy something retail as opposed to like, I don't know. I assume it affects everybody with internet sales. It's a huge bummer though. I think most people, even if you really do enjoy purchasing cigars from a B&M, you equally probably enjoy the fact that you have the accessibility and the availability buying online, and that could potentially go away, which is a really scary thought because that kind of government rule and control, like it genuinely makes me nervous. Like the fact that you could just take that and completely kill it in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little wild, isn't it? I think it's a huge overreach in my opinion, but it's looking like it's going in the direction of not good.
Yeah, that's really bizarre.
Like, what would you do if you couldn't buy cigars online? Well, you don't buy too many cigars online, but I buy a lot of cigars online. It's not like it's preference. It's just, again, like the ease of use part of it, the availability. We're in an area where, although it's getting better, it's still challenged in terms of like inventory. Like there's just a lot of stuff you can't get. So you, obviously, if there's something that you want to try, or for purposes of like us smoking stuff for the podcast, if there's a particular thing we want to try and we're trying to create this list of things we want to go through, that's not always available locally. And actually, more often than not, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's typically not available locally.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Usually we have to go outside any sort of local B&M, and we've got to purchase online. And just to think about not having the ability to do that, it's weird. It's like are they going to go back to the old cataloging system where you just like rummage through the catalog, call up, and be like, I need 4 of these? Like what happens? I don't know what happens.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like we're reverting into the like late 90s of internet.
It is. Like we're going to be flipping through pages looking for shit. And then literally it was called cataloging. All you young folk don't know what that means. But for us who have been around a little bit of time, you used to flip through a fucking catalog and then call in for the things you need. That's how business was done.
You gave them the fucking SKU number.
That's it.
That's like, process that shit right then and there. That couch. What's the number in the catalog? So 496432.
What's interesting, if you think about it, even back to 2005, 2006-ish, around the time that I started at C2G, when I started there, they were still cataloging. They had just built that website.
I used to do
and they were still cataloging stuff. So it was like that was the big thing.
Catalog changes when I worked there as an intern.
Kind of crazy, isn't it? Now, no one who produces a catalog anymore. Actually, cigar industry does, awkwardly enough. But that's just because there's a bunch of old fucking fuddy-duddies who don't know how to use the internet, you old saggy sacks of shit.
Look at you, you patient, stubborn old bastards.
Yeah.
It looks like you're
I like flipping through a catalog when I'm on the toilet in the morning. Well, get an iPad, bitch.
Looks like your gamble might pay off, though, if this happens.
Yeah, that's true. They're going to be like, I told you so.
I told you catalogs are eternal.
Dude, I remember people I used to work with that just would not throw catalogs that got away. Like, they keep them on their desks, like parts manufacturers and stuff, and they would hold on to every one of them. Like, you could literally just click and browse Google, and right there it pops up. And they just would not do it. They held on to every single thing. I remember this guy, this is no joke, old school dude, company that I deal with that makes like video wall processors and stuff. They create this binder, and this binder is like this thick. And I remember this guy, Steve, reaching out to me, and he's like, Cory, have I sent you one of those binders? I was like, oh, no, I have one, which I did. And he's like, oh, it's probably outdated. I'm like, I don't need another one. Like, he's like, oh, no, you need the binder. I was like, please, I literally go, please don't send me the binder. Like, I don't have room for it. I was like, the thing is, like, fortunately, he's like, oh, no, you need it. That binder, that's like our holy grail, man. That's like our Bible. I told him no, and then literally 4 days later, that ginormous fucking thing shows up on my porch, and I immediately just dropped it in the trash can. I was like, this thing is so obnoxious, and for me to be able to find the information that I need to find, I can literally, it's all searchable online. Like, he was just super old school, which drives me nuts. But anyway, we have a cigar review today.
Yep.
I have no idea how to pronounce it.
I think I did take courses online for Spanish words.
Is it Españole?
I think so.
Oh, interesting. Nothing like a good Spaniard.
We reviewed the Warped. That's a word I know. That's an English word.
That's very easy. Yep, Warp's easy.
It is the Flor del Flor de Vale. Flor del Valle. Flor del Valle.
Floridaville. Just ends up being Floridaville.
Floridaville.
Yeah, anyway, so we're reviewing that cigar today. Another Warp cigar that we're just tossing right in there amongst all the other stuff we smoked. But before we get into it, I'm going to take a quick break because you know why? I think I'm going to pour myself a glass of bourbon. I feel like it's Burby time. So hang tight with us. We'll be back in just a minute. All right. All right. Okay. All right.
Recording. It's going.
It's going?
I think.
Yeah, it's going. Today, Chris, what are we reviewing?
La flor, la mintare, Juanina Flor del Valle. By Warped.
Yep. I don't even want to know. What did the one guy call it? The Flor del Valle.
Flor del Valle.
And then the other guy said what? Yeah.
I think he went real Italian on it.
Yeah, he really stretched his mouth out when he said it, which is super strange. But
like,
we are...
like that.
Yeah, it's so weird how he did that, wasn't it?
It's very odd.
That's very strange. But yeah, we're breaking down the Warped Flor del Valle, which sounds like Floridaville.
Yeah, Floridaville.
Which I'm okay with.
That's where people go when they're sick of Orlando.
That's true. Go on to Floridaville. Before we get into the components, Chris, can you let everybody know how we break down this Spanish beauty?
Oh, sí, Cory, sí.
Are you saying see or sing?
Sing or sing.
Sing.
I wish I was better prepared for this because I would have sung these lyrics in a Spanish accent.
That would have been fantastic.
But I don't have bars, so I can't do it like a poem or lyrics.
Right.
So I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. Each cigar review starts with a total of 60 possible points and is broken down into 3 main categories. 10 points for construction, 20 points for burn, and 30 points for flavor. We then deduct points for less than optimal construction, burn, and flavor and see if the cigar is worth the price for a possible 1% bonus or deduction. And then finally, we average out our individual scores, giving you guys our total cigar rating out of 60. Patanon en español. What if I just did the whole thing in Spanish?
That would have been fucking great.
I should.
That'd be so funny.
I should do that.
Well, it's a little late for that now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. See. All right. So I always love breaking down the components of a Warp cigar because they're all the same. They're all Nicaraguan Puros. Pretty much every single one of them. So this is a Nicaraguan Puro, and we smoked this. I wonder if we smoked the same Vitola. Did we?
I had a Toro.
Okay, I did smoke the same one you did, the 6x52.
But don't you know, we smoked this in the valley.
And
I wish you could hear that song.
Like some, and I would argue most Warp cigars, it comes at a pretty hefty price point of $13 a stick. Ooh, steep.
Get out of here with your craziness.
Yeah, kind of crazy that the prices are always so fucking far inflated for a Warp cigar. Actually, they're not. Like the La Hacienda, I think, is a great value. Actually, there's some in the lineup that are just absolutely jammers for the money.
Yeah.
But this one, $13 price point, better be fucking good. So let's get into it, Chris.
Yes.
What did you think about the construction overall on this Spanish flower blossom?
I gotta be honest with you, bro. This cigar might have been just as messy as the woman we just saw in that Spanish Flor del Valle music video.
That's not good.
I don't know. I've never given bad marks for a warp cigar. And I'm not going to do it today. But the point of it is, it was a little bit sloppier than other warp cigars I've had.
So did you deduct any points?
I didn't deduct points. I thought it was fair.
I say, okay.
But it just was a little
Part of
messy.
me was wondering why we were having this conversation, but okay.
It was, and I think I have to attribute it to its very unique cap and head.
Okay.
Because if you're familiar with the Flor del Valle, it has a unique head to it. We're used to this smooth, spherical dome.
Not only does it have a unique head, it's like someone took a sledgehammer and hit one of the cone heads on the head with it.
Yeah, like when
it's pointed, but not.
For you who have children, when you were there in the birthing room.
For you who have children.
You remember your kid came out, right?
Like if the head came out first, right? It does the little like suction thing.
Your kid comes out like an alien. Its head looks like an alien. You're like, is it
pointed.
going to stay that way?
Is it because the head's like mushy, right?
It's very mushy and it's plates, so it's not even like fully formed. It's just plates. It's to help the head go through.
Gotcha, of course.
But the problem is it stretches the head of the baby.
So you don't want to tear that vag up.
No, and it will still tear it up because we're talking about several centimeters of body coming through the birth canal of a beautiful vagina.
A beautiful vagina.
but that's like the head on this cigar. It's just like a newborn baby, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's always going to be messy.
Did you say a newly blown baby?
A newborn baby.
No, you said, I'm going to reverse this back. You said newly blown baby.
No. I didn't, I promise.
The great thing is it's being recorded, so I'll know for sure.
It's true. But it's like a newborn baby coming out. It's going to look messy.
Yeah, it's actually is super weird because it's a torpedo shape, but it's flat on the top. It's really, and that's what it's intentionally supposed to be, which I think is weird. It was kind of strange to me. I don't know. It's just like even looking at it, I'm like, this just looks weird. I have obviously no preference either way. I just thought it was kind of strange. I thought the construction was actually pretty amazing. On mine was very flawless, very light veins, very super thin. And one of the things that I liked about this particular cigar is the smoothness of the wrapper. I feel like here recently, you and I have just smoked so many just toothy, gritty cigars.
Real textured.
That Mexican San Andreas, the Connecticut broadleaf, super textured, like sandpaper almost. And this one was a far departure of that and something that offered up a nice smoothness with a great color. I thought the construction for me on this particular warp cigar was pretty fucking amazing.
I'm
all things
surprised
considered.
you even noticed the beauty of it, bud, because the reality for me is when that baby comes out looking all ugly, I can't help but just stare at his fucking head.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
I'm not paying attention to.
But the difference is you cut the head off of this one. You don't cut the head off of a baby.
I'm not paying attention to how cute its toes are, or how cute its barely open eyeballs are, its cute little lips. Right. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with that dome? That's not my kid.
That baby's got a hell of a
you
dome.
You put that kid back in there and wait till his head's corrected.
Yeah, for sure. Wouldn't that be weird if they just massaged babies' heads into form once they were born? Like there was a nurse who just literally shaped it like Play-Doh. Why don't they do that?
I feel like that would be pretty effective. You
just massage it into shape.
Like treatments in like the 1600s.
It's kind of like
these babies' heads are weird. Let's put books on top of them.
It's kind of like doing that spinning pottery.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Like in Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the burn?
Oh, the burn. It had some weird run issues occasionally.
Oh, the burn.
Oh, the burn. It did have a few slight runs. They did correct themselves, and actually, it really smoothed out on consistency as far as how even the burn was. I'm sorry, this bourbon is slightly burning my throat.
Dude, that's Weller, bro. Weller's smooth.
But it was a good 2-3 puffer cigar. Like the smoke production on a warped is good. I thought the size was appropriate for it too, and it was like pretty effortless draw. in this Toro. And did you notice how flaky the ash was, though? Did you have the same?
Yeah, I did actually. Like it would just start throwing up a little bit of like little fits of ash.
Yeah, it was fucking
Yeah, it was
crazy.
it is kind of weird. I did notice that actually.
It was very fragile.
Yeah.
Which you would think, and I'm just saying this, just smoking other Warp lineup cigars, you would think that all the tobacco that's coming out of Nicaragua, right, it's got to be relatively consistently the same.
Yeah.
But this thing was real flaky. It wasn't a big issue. It's just I had to constantly pat myself free of ash.
Right. Yeah, someone like me who tends to consistently ash on myself, cigars like this don't do me any favors because I will create longevity in smoking a cigar as to not ash it. So when they're flaky like this, I feel like it just gets everywhere because I'm not disciplined enough to continually ash it.
Yeah, and the thing is, the question now you might ask yourself is, did it pass that hold test? Well, I got to tell you it did, because all I did was I sat it down for 5 minutes, turned on my favorite music video on YouTube called Flor del Valle with this hot-ass prostitute that literally puts her phone number into the description of the video to have you call her. I'm not joking.
Yeah, this is legit.
This is legit.
Look it up.
The point of it is, she's a messy woman, big floppy messy woman. She needs a little work on her vocals.
Yeah, she's definitely got some hangers.
She needs to work on her vocals. But that said, I was so ingrained with the performance of her work that by the time I looked up, I was like, oh, 5 minutes is done. And I put that Flor del Valle back in my mouth, and I took a puff. And I was like, sí, bueno. And dude, it stayed lit. It was a good whole test. But then it does what it wants to do, which this sloppy bitch did in this music video. She just wanted to, like, fuck with you a bit.
Yep.
I had a pit.
Tickle your bean.
It pitted at the end.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I had to relight once at the end.
Yeah.
But that said, it passed the whole test, which I think is the most appropriate test for when it might go out, right?
That's true.
But that said, it's just like, you got me.
Yeah.
Flor del Valle.
Flor del Valle. I thought the smoke was okay. I thought the burn was okay. I had a bit of a tight draw on mine, which is sometimes kind of maddening. Didn't loosen up as much as I wanted it to, even with a little bit of a massage. But I would say despite that, there's really good smoke production on this cigar, which I thought was great. One of the things that I enjoyed about the cigar, even being a 6x52, is how evenly it burnt. I thought it was so consistent through the cigar that it's not like it's anything super special or it stands out on its own. But I would say, just considering that it's a 6x52, I feel like there's always troubles with some burns. There's always some wonkiness, even if it corrects itself. It's like this one was so consistent, even burn all the way down. It actually reminded me a little bit of the Tricky Traca as far as like just the layers that it offers and the evenness and consistency was just really nice. I weirdly enough, which is why I kind of went, you did? Had a pit right at the end as well, like literally right at the end.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Which is kind of frustrating because I already anticipated it was going to come up because it presented itself at a bit of a soft spot just early on in the smoke. But I'm like, man, it'd be nice if we get down to this point and it just kind of fires through. But it did go out and actually went out pretty abruptly.
It was very abruptly.
Mine did also pass the whole test. Flying colors, actually. I actually went away for a minute to grab more bourbon. Because I am definitely on my way to being an alcoholic. This is 19 days straight of me drinking bourbon. Actually, this may make day 20. So I really do have a problem. And part of that problem is it's hard for me to select stuff. So I actually think I left the cigar out there longer than what the 5-minute hold test would require of us. Came back and it smoked just great, which is weird that it's just such an abrupt pit at the end that creates a relight, because even just with the rest of the cigar, it was so great. Passing the whole test with flying colors probably came in around like 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
And it picked it up, smoked just fine. So
yeah, I did. Yeah.
It's weird that happens right at the end.
The burn was interesting for me, and I'll just reiterate, like, it burned evenly when I was about a good inch in, but it just like, it's kind of like warming up your vocals, right? You try to like start to sing without doing your warm ups.
Right.
Kind of a little off, right? Can't hold a tune very well.
That's true.
Yeah, warm up. That's kind of how mine was, but it was fine after that. It was good straight line.
What did you think about the flavor overall?
Wow. Flor del Valle. Well, I got to tell you this. A little sloppy. Burned okay.
Yeah.
You get a little spice up front. Maybe it's her Spanish heritage. Maybe she's playing hard to get. Maybe it's because she's a prostitute, wants to make sure you're a good buyer. Spicy and nutty up front. I think she was a man. But I'm going to tell you this in an analogy. And I said it earlier. It was a lot of missionary position. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You buy a hot lady for $13. Well, she wasn't hot, but
she was $13.
But she's a little sloppy, and you're ready for a little bit of sloppy action. You know what I'm saying? Well, when it gets time to doing the funny business, right? You know what I'm saying right now, right?
Right.
She's like, okay, you get on top. I was like, no, bitch. You're riding me.
No, and I'd be like, I'm going to wrap your legs around your waist.
Put me through the books, you know? Put me through the Kama Sutra books.
Right.
Instead, she's like, oh, yeah, bueno, sí, get it, come with me. You know, like, and I was just like, I was a little bit bored, okay?
Yeah.
It was a boring, really expensive hooker.
The question is did you come?
When she pitted, I just gave up, to be fair.
Hey, wouldn't we all?
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I'll say this. Warped cigars are usually very flavorful, and I give them a lot of kudos. I think this one really was subpar in the flavor category. It just never reached a certain plateau or crescendo of flavors. They started off bland. They kind of stayed bland.
Right.
It was very boring. Once that pit happened at the end and I like relit it and I took one puff, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. I can't say that I had a whole lot of a different experience than you. I thought the cigar was very peppery up front, which actually kind of excited me, and the fact that it usually does in the Warped cigar lineup. Typically, if you get that pepper up front, you get a little bit of that rush. It means that in the next inch of the cigar, it'll balance itself out with like a really nice smoothie creaminess, something that's a little bit more of a sweeter component. That is what I would say is typical. But this cigar, to me, there was not a whole, it seemed like there was a whole lot of complexity. Like those changes that I would have desired and or expected never really happened. There was a little bit of a nice earthiness that I liked in it. It was pretty mild in nature. But it really smooths out, but it does it so in a very uneventful way.
Yeah. Like
there's nothing, like it's typically I can always extract certain components of the cigar in terms of flavor and go, wow, this other thing balanced with this other thing. And this cigar, I was confused. It was like I was scratching my head going, I don't even know what I'm smoking right now. Like, what is this? What is it supposed to be? It was not only confusing, but it was completely bland and dulled. This, to me, which I didn't think, and I know a lot of people like the Futuro, and perhaps my mistake in smoking that cigar too is I smoked it in a larger Vitola. To me, this is arguably worse than that cigar, and the experience I had with that cigar was so subpar. Not one of my favorites. And I think, and I'm going to and I have actually had this conversation, ironically enough, with somebody else saying that the best Warped cigars are always the one that are built in Corona style form. Those are the Vitolas that are best. Anything that's like a 48 ring gauge and under. It seems like anything that comes out that's bigger, longer, typically with Warped, is just not good. There's such a lack of complexity. There's a lot of confusion. It's very dull and bland flavors. And I think that is exactly what this particular cigar offered up. It's just not good. And for the price point, you're talking about that $13, which is a premium that you're going to pay for the cigar, it's really not worth it. My suggestion is stay away from the fucking large Vitolas. They're clearly not working out. And I'm giving business advice to a guy who's clearly fucking done great shit. But to me, it just seems like, this cigar I would anticipate in a smaller Vitola, which I have not smoked, is probably lights out good. But in this particular Vitola, it is garbage. It's not even okay. To me, it's just not good.
Yeah, it's kind
I'm pretty bold in saying that, but it's just the reality. I'm not, there was no part of that I enjoyed. I was very much like waiting and like just rushing the idea that I was going to be done with it and I could move on to something else.
Yeah, the flavor's okay.
Yeah, but just not a huge fan
the
at all.
The question is, and this is where it becomes very tricky. This is a $13 cigar we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. And there's other warped cigars in the $13 tax bracket, which I can vouch are good.
Yeah. La Camina.
La Camina is amazing. I can be real with you. For an okay flavor, and even though it's a Toro, which you get about another 30 minutes smoke out of it if you really baby it, it's just not worth $13.
Right.
I was not necessarily wowed by the cigar. Therefore, I will never, ever buy this prostitute again.
Under any circumstance.
Not for $13.
Someone gives it to you, just throw it at them.
It's not bad. Like the score I gave it on flavor was a 24 out of 30. That's considered okay. But typically, with anything I smoke in normal rotation, it's better than okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So, that said, it's not worth $13 to me. What did you think?
I thought it was excessively out of bounds in terms of pricing.
Yeah.
$13 for this cigar is just such an overreach. It's not even funny. That's how bad I thought this cigar was. I'm saying this also while saying I really do admire most warp cigars. Just not this one. I thought this one was really garbagey. That being said, it's pretty easy to deduce from that I clearly did not think it got a pricing delta, a bonus. It certainly got a delta. It's just not worth the money. I mean, even this cigar at $8, $9, I still wouldn't enjoy it. I'm hoping that this cigar in a smaller vitola, like I just think about like, just in consideration of the warp lines, I think something like the Cloud Hopper or the La Hacienda, where I'm paying sub $10 for both of those cigars that are so goddamn obnoxiously good. And then you get this cigar in a larger vitola 6x52 at such a premium, and it's so out of bounds bad. I'm like, why is there such a goddamn disparity? It drives me nuts. And it's weird because we're both saying this, and I had a conversation with someone literally yesterday where we were calibrating on cigars. What do you like? What do you don't like? What about this one? About this one? And this one came up, and we were both like, terrible cigar. In this vitola. I was like, okay, well, I'm not fucking crazy then, right? Like, I'm not sitting out on an island by myself. There is clearly other folks out there who are like, yeah, this is just so far out of bounds in terms of how good it is for the price that you pay. $13, I probably wouldn't pay $8 or $9 for this cigar, even if being a Toro 6x52. I'd rather pay more for a better cigar that's smaller and a Robusto. That's how much I thought this cigar was not good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That was harsh, bro.
Sorry about it.
But we appreciate your honesty.
I'm sorry. So what did you give a score overall?
Listen, 10 out of 10 construction. I could have given a little bit for being a little bit sloppy with that head, but I didn't. I gave it a 10 out of 10.
An old tack hammer head.
19 out of 20. I had one crazy pit at the end, relit it, went, I'm done.
Right.
24 out of 30. The flavor was okay.
Right.
I like the spice. That's it.
Sure.
Gave it a negative 1% because it is an overpriced cigar, in my opinion. Mine comes out at an 87.3%.
Nice. To me, I thought the cigar, in terms of construction, was absolutely gorgeous. Damn near flawless. I actually like the little smush cone head. I think it's kind of cool. I actually kind of favor that. I thought it was beautifully constructed. The tight draw and, of course, the one pit, negative 2 points deduction on the burn, which is an 18 out of 20. Sorry, construction was a 10 out of 10. Perfect. I thought this cigar was arguably terrible, other than, and I will give it some credit, what you get up front in terms of that pepperiness and the floralness, which I actually really enjoyed. I was hoping that it would transition into what I thought was going to be a more thoughtful, complex approach. It was something that was very lackluster.
You were catfish, bro.
I was totally catfish. I was really excited to smoke the remainder of the cigar, and then it just petered out. It's like, you know what it's like? It's like a black guy with a huge hog, who just like fucking gets real hard at first, but then like there's not enough blood to reach the end of his 12-inch dick, and it just gets flaccid, and then it all just kind of coils back up into his stomach.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this was like to me. It really came in hot and then just not after that. And it was a disappointment. I thought the flavors were just absolutely bland. I thought it just seemed like there was no thought put into this cigar. Like if I was the one blending this, there's no way I'd be happy with this outcome. Personally, I just look at it and I go, I don't get it. It's just confusing to me. So that reward a 23 out of 30 in terms of flavor, probably one of the lowest scores I've given. Of course, that in consideration with a pricing delta, because it does come in at a $13 price point, which I think is a far overreach, gives me a score of an 84. Average our two scores together, that gives us an 85.5 in total score for this particular cigar, which, by the way, as much as I feel like I'm bashing it, doesn't seem like a horrible score. It's pretty bad, but I've scored worse.
You got to consider the bell curve in the cigar industry, right? The baseline on the bell curve is literally a 90. If you're doing a 90 or better, it's considered great.
Right.
Anything lower, it becomes questionable.
Yeah, this one's questionable.
That's just the reality of it. So I think I think with this cigar, I think what you'll notice when we do our weekly poll for the cigar that'd be going on the site, likely.
You think it'll be in alignment?
Yeah, I think it'll be in alignment. I think it'll be very mixed response.
Yeah, I think it's going to be mixed response too. As a matter of fact, if we were to bet on it right now, I bet it achieves no better than an 80 from a community perspective.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to put my bet at.
I want to say 60-40.
Wow, that's aggressive. Yeah. That could happen. We've had ones in the 50s, man. We've had ones where people are like, this is dog shit.
In favor of the cigar.
Okay, yeah.
60.
Yeah, I would believe that for sure. I even still think that's aggressive, but just because there's some hardcore warp dick writers out there.
And there's nothing wrong, and it might suit you just fine, you know?
Right.
But I think I've smoked enough at this point in the time I've been smoking a variety of just different cigars that I could tell you this one needs some improvement.
I would say Warped has made far better efforts in the rest of their line because they just some absolute lights out cigars.
Shit from Warped.
Yeah. Just not this one. This one's not. So it is what it is. But anyway, hey, that concludes episode 139, man. It's cool. Recorded on a Friday. I actually kind of like the Friday recording. I actually feel after we took a bit of a break and I got in this bourbon, I felt much better. My energy kind of came back a little bit. I feel a lot better than I did at the first part of the episode. So that's a good plus. I like the Friday recordings. I think I'm going to really enjoy Thursday recordings. Sorry about yesterday.
That's okay.
Saturday recordings suck balls because I'm still tired and I've got a bit of a little hangover that I always have, a little fogginess in the beginning of a Saturday morning.
And it's morning, and I'm not a morning person, people.
Yeah, I am a morning person, but I don't have I can't drink in the morning, right? Like here I can grab I could, but I'm not going to.
You can grab a globble?
I can grab a garter. So, I like the recordings at night. It just feels more, to me, it feels a little bit more organic. Like, I feel like we have better chemistry at night, although we're used to doing for the most part, always in the morning on Saturday.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is what it is. You just hope the energy's there and that people enjoy the content. And if you don't, guess what? Go fuck yourself because you're not in the room. What if we did this in front of a live studio audience? What if I just put like a set of bleachers over there across the wall and we sat 5 people there?
Yeah. We'll do it
Brought to you in front of a live studio audience.
Do it like fucking Willy Wonka and send out 5 golden tickets into the industry.
Yeah, that'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
And if you get a golden ticket, you come to a live recording.
How weird would that be?
You want chocolate? We'll fucking buy chocolate. Come in. We'll give you chocolate.
How strange would that be?
You want an everlasting gobstopper? Fucking come in. We got them.
I'll gobstop the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
That sounds sexual, really, when you say it.
Welcome to Wonka Vision, bitches.
What was the one kid, Mikey?
Mikey, yeah.
He's like, pow, pow, pow. Who was the fat kid?
Gustav.
And then there was
Violet. You're turning Violet. Violet.
Not her. Who's the cunt? Who was her? What was that? Veruca?
Yeah, Veruca, honey.
Veruca. Sweetheart angel.
I want to. Oh, what does she say? What's the egg? She's like,
I want the whole world.
Gooses.
Geeses.
I want a goose to lay
Lay
golden
golden
eggs for Easter. 100 a day. And by the way, I want a feast.
That's perfect.
What a bitch.
Yeah, well, she was a fucking nightmare, wasn't she? What a fucking turd that girl was.
Yeah.
Wowzers. Anyway, we should probably end this. I'm fucking starving, dude. I've only eaten that goddamn yogurt. I'm literally like, I'm pretty sure my body is eating itself.
Yeah,
It's just weird. It's just been a weird week, man. My whole week's been fucking off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next week will be better. I did get that new job, so that's cool.
Hell yeah.
I think I may have already said that. I don't know if I did or not, but I got my offer letter today, signed it, all good. Boom, moving to the next role. C'est la vie. Peace, bitches.